Hey guys, I've recently found out that Roger Federer, the tennis legend, seems to be an avid chess player. He plays chess online practically every day, as he says. And I found his online account, or at least what apparently is his online account. And how surprised I was that he is a really great chess player, for his level at least. He is an attacking genius. He plays some creative gambits and destroys his opponents, just like he does in tennis. His creative tennis style, I think, might have influenced his chess style, or maybe it's just like the character that has an impact on all kinds of sports you are doing. I don't know, but it's worth taking a look at his games, and let me present you a couple of them that I found most interesting. So let's dive into this. The first one is a Blitz game against an opponent from Ukraine. Yaya Zergud. Apparently, it's it's an opponent who speaks some German, yeah, and they open up with the King's Gambit. My favorite chess opening, probably a romantic era of chess style weapon. And it's been refuted by engines. It's considered very dubious. But if you are not 2800 rated, you definitely shouldn't worry about engine refutation of some opening. And even if you are 2800 rated, for example, Jan Nepomniachtchi, one of the best chess players in the world, sometimes plays the King's Gambit in Blitz, so you can do it. So the opponent declines the gambit, and here already Roger could have lost immediately because he takes this pawn, which is not a good decision because he missed queen h4 check. And the problem is that if you block, queen takes e4 is a fork and you lose the rook. And if you don't block, you have to go king e2, bone clouding your king, and this will lead to a quick demolition, quick mate. You will have to give up your queen, or otherwise you will just get destroyed. Like, I don't know, anything moves wins here, bishop takes here, and all the pieces of black, for example, here d5, this bishop joins the attack, all the pieces surround the king, and white is dead lost. Thankfully for Roger, his opponent did not see this, did not check him with the queen. Instead, the opponent recaptured the pawn, which goes to show that you should avoid automatic moves in chess. You should avoid automatic recaptures. Sometimes automatic recaptures are good, very often they are the best moves. He has captured your pawn, you're capturing back. Sometimes people pre-move it, but to be honest, not all the time it's good. For example, here it's definitely a missed opportunity. So be mindful of automatic moves, don't make them automatically. But okay, this is Blitz, anything happens. Also, they are both not grandmasters, so this is all right. d5 is an interesting move. Black in turn sacrifices a pawn, white takes, and black develops. The position is quite balanced. d4, kicking the knight away from the central square, is a good move. The knight goes back. Bishop g5 pins the knight to the queen. Roger is playing very active chess. h6 tries to kick the bishop, so the bishop just takes, and Roger checks black's king, which is not the best move because the queen obstructs the bishop's movement, but it's an okay move. Bishop blocks, and now knight f3. The knight will probably at some point go into the center. Black pins the knight, and white castles long, showing aggressive intentions. If black goes short and white went long, this means that this is then opposite side castling type of position where you need to attack your opponent, demolish him, blow him or her off the board, which is what usually happens in this type of positions. Either he or she will blow you off the board, or you will do that. So I like those kinds of positions. Rook e1 puts more pressure on the e7 bishop. The bishop pins this knight, and h3 kicks the bishop away. Rook e8 is a crazy attempt to complicate matters because your bishop is hanging. You should probably take this knight, and the position will be around equal. Maybe you'll take this pawn as well. Black is already a little bit better. If you take here, you can also take on d4. Yes, there is some attack by white. White can put the bishop, sorry for my arrows, here, try to attack, but there's nothing concrete here. So instead of doing this, Roger's opponent went for rook e8, forgetting the fact that Roger is a creative genius who can sacrifice the queen. Queen takes e8. Well, it's not a sacrifice because he takes 2 rooks in exchange for a queen, so it is an equivalent exchange of pieces. And also, Roger takes, remember this, the bishop. Now Roger is up material because he has 2 rooks and a piece, minor piece, a knight for the queen. Black takes the knight, checks white's king, but white's king is perfectly safe here, surrounded by its pawns, which control very important squares around the king, and this pawn mass is impressive. Queen takes g4, and now bishop d3, a great move, pinning this knight and creating some interesting mating attacks. For example, queen takes g2 was what happened in the game, and now the best way to finish off the game would be knight e5. Very beautiful, but I don't blame Roger for not seeing this. So white is ignoring the threat to the rook. If black takes the rook, then knight takes f7 seals the deal because rook h8 checkmate is unavoidable. The king is in the box, it cannot move. This knight is not controlling the h8 square because the bishop pins the knight. So whatever black does next, like queen h2 for example, rook h8 will be a checkmate because the knight protects this rook, the king cannot take, the knight cannot take because of the pin. That would have been a beautiful finish, but Roger didn't do that. He went for bishop e4, which is also a nice move. If black takes here, knight g5 is a check, winning the queen after takes, also easily winning for white. So black does not take the rook, instead black retreated, but here rook h4 continues harassing the queen. Queen drops back, and now knight g5 is a beautiful checkmate in just 22 moves. Roger Federer blows his opponent off the board, like winning in two sets in tennis, equivalent to this, like 6 low, 6 low, something like this, 6-1, 6-1, something that's maybe closer to this. Very impressive. The second game, let me show it to you, is also not one that will disappoint you. So the Roger again opens up with 1 e4. You see that this is also blitz, and he has gained some rating. He's already close to 1600 rated, which is decent. e4, e5. Now, the previous game featured the King's Gambit. This game featured another opening, more standard one, the Philidor defense. And h6 is a bit passive, but it's a move. c3. I will not comment on the intricacies of the opening. Let me just note that black grabbed the pawn before finishing the development, which usually is not a good thing. So Roger ignores this pawn, he just castles, and he intends to put the rook on the open file and maybe win this knight, or at least exploit the fact that white is much better developed here. Bishop e7 blocks the file, but rook e1 still attacks. And after the counterattack by the pawn, bishop checks and retreats. The position is balanced. Black has grabbed a pawn. White has made not the best moves in the position, but anything can happen here. White still enjoys some advantage in terms of development. White is better developed, so white has some compensation for the sacrificed pawn. Black castles, and bishop c2 is a clever move. Very often in these kinds of positions, it is possible to create a battery and put the queen on h7 and mate your opponent. This is how many blitz games of amateur players end in such types of structures. So bishop c2 is clever. The knight retreats. The knight is now eyeing this square, which is also important. White develops, and white finishes development. I see that Roger has taken some classes, some chess classes, I guess, or watched some educational chess videos, because he knows that it is very important to activate your pieces first, not to think about some stupid ideas like many beginners at the beginning of the game. They just go a4, rook a3, something like that. No, Roger is much better than this. And here he is already thinking about some sacrifices. He goes queen d2, eyeing this h6 pawn. Yes, it's protected, it defended, but so what? Takes, bishop g4, bishop takes h6, another sacrifice, which is absolutely correct according to the engine, absolutely approved by the engine. You see, black's problem is that black does not have enough defenders of the king. So after taking, some exchanges, queen takes h6, and black's king is hopelessly positioned here. There are no defenders, and soon, if this knight leaves the defense of the h7 square, queen h7 will follow, protected by the powerful bishop. Otherwise, white will just slide the king to h1 and deliver a checkmate via the g file, and black is not in time to do anything. If black had like 2 moves here in a row, black could go here, here, and then put the knight here. It still would have been lost, but at least that would have given some chances to black, but black doesn't have any time. And after knight d7 here, king h1 seals the deal because rook g1 will follow next. After queen f8, rook g1, black resigned the game because there is nothing black can do. Queen g7, queen takes g7 is checkmate. Knight here, queen h7 is checkmate in one. So any attempts to block this file or block this check fails. And Roger Federer again emerges on top, as he always does, practically always does in tennis. By the way, I'm a big fan of tennis. I play it from time to time, and I know that many of top chess players also like the game. For example, Fabiano Caruana, he's been to my podcast as a guest. Check out the episode. I'll link it in the description. He also likes tennis. So maybe that tennis and chess are somehow linked, somehow connected. Maybe some strategic geometrical patterns, stuff like that. Also perseverance, endurance, many common things. What do you think? Do you agree with this statement? Do you think Roger can make progress in chess now that he's retired from tennis? Write your opinion in the comments. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.